What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. I have some news regarding Marvin Bagley III. So there was a report a couple days ago by The Athletic that said that the Sacramento Kings have made Marvin Bagley available for a trade. And he also said that there was little to no interest for Marvin Bagley around the league, which is a little bit surprising considering he's only 21 years old. So today I want to take a look at my personal trade proposals. I have two trade proposals for you, and I also want to look at pros and cons of acquiring Marvin Bagley, and I'll talk to you about why I think the Raptors should or should not acquire him. So before I do that, I need you to do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. When you do that, it helps reach a larger YouTube audience. And if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button as well, it really helps this channel grow. You get a lot of Raptors content on here, including post-game analysis, Raptors trade scenarios, Raptors rumors, and other news as well. So let's look right into it. So before I get into my trade proposals, I do want to talk a little bit about Marvin Bagley and what I think some of the pros and cons of acquiring him are. So right off the bat, you see he's 21 years old despite having 3 years experience in the NBA, which is an absolute bonus because if the Raptors were to acquire him, he's still a developing player and we could develop him into the system player that the Raptors always do, which is hard-nosed defense, playing hard on both ends of the floor. And you look at his height as well, which is good. 6'11 is fairly tall for today's modern NBA. But I do want to talk about some of his cons as well. You see his statistics at the bottom of the page there. His first year, you look at his statistics, 14.9 points. And you look at the next two seasons, including this season. I know there's still a lot of NBA to be played this season, but it hasn't changed that much. And in fact, it's actually decreased over the last couple years. 14.9 points in his first season has dropped down to 14.2 and 14.1. And it's not like he's shooting any less. You look at his field goal attempts, 11.4 in his first season, and it has remained fairly the same the next couple of seasons as well. So it's not like he's not getting the ball enough. And a lot of things you need to take a look at as well. Look at his rebounding as well. His rebounds are the same as when he first came into the league, despite the fact that he's still averaging around the same minutes. He's averaging about 25, 26 minutes the 3 seasons he's been in the NBA. The one bonus I do want to talk about, though, you look at his 3-point percentage, that definitely has increased. You see his first season, he was shooting 31%. This season, he's shooting 37%, and he's also taking more threes as well. So that's a pro that that shows you that he's a willing to become a stretch big man, which is huge for the Raptors. As we know, their offense relies on their big man being able to shoot the three. It really spaces the floor for every other player. So that's a big bonus. But again, you look at some of the statistics, again, his passing seems like it's been the same. 1 assist, 0.8 in his second year. Steal wise, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. It has not changed very much. You would think, when looking at most of his statistics, you would think you're looking at the same season because it has not improved very much at all, which is a cause for concern because for someone who's coming into the NBA at 18 years old, you would think he's improved the next couple years. I mean, you could definitely question whether it's maybe the Sacramento Kings developmental system, but then they did draft De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield as well. So sometimes you do have to you do have to say that players, you can't blame the team system entirely. The players do need to put in effort. Again, don't get me wrong, he's 21 years old and he's putting up really good numbers, but it is strange that his numbers have not improved at all throughout the 3 seasons. And it's not like I said, it's not like he's averaging less minutes or taking less minutes or he's taking less shots. He's averaging the same throughout those 3 seasons. Another cause for concern is he has had a history of injuries as well. That's definitely troublesome, especially for a young player. If they're injury prone that early on in their season, early on in their career, you don't know what it's going to be like next few years. He could be very injured, so that's also another con of acquiring Marvin Bagley because he is very injury prone. As you see in the second season, he's only played 13 games the entire season. So even in that first season, he only played 62 games. But I do want to get into my trade proposals as well. So let's have a look at our first trade. So for my first trade proposal, I would have, of course, Marvin Bagley coming to the Raptors. Going to the Kings would be Aaron Baines. Patrick McCaw, Terrence Davis. So Terrence Davis is the key piece here. Terrence Davis, as we know, has shown a lot of potential of being a really good scorer at times. Again, he's inconsistent. That's the only issue. And he's also very young and he's on a really good contract. He's only on 1.5 million this year. He is a free agent. But I do feel like Aaron Baines would be a good piece for the Sacramento Kings because they can always use a veteran presence off the bench. And I personally do feel like Aaron Baines would play a lot better in the Kings system that doesn't really focus that much on defense. And you know what? If they don't like him, they have that team option on that contract. So if they want to bring him back for 7 million, they can. If they don't like him, they can let him go and free up the 7 million cap space. Personally, I do think this deal in real life does not get done. We would probably have to throw in maybe a first round pick, possibly a couple second round picks. I'm being a little biased here with the trade proposal, but I do want to take a look at the second trade proposal as well. So I feel like the Sacramento Kings would really like this trade proposal a lot more than the first one. Jalen Harris, as you know, is a second round draft pick and has shown a lot of potential in the Raptors 905 of being a really solid scorer. Matt Thomas, of course, any team would love to have him, and they would definitely give him a lot more minutes than the Raptors have been. He can stretch the floor, and he's on a really cheap deal, 1.5 million for a couple seasons. The Kings would love that. They could use him off the bench, and Aaron Baines again, like I said, he's going to do great, I feel like, with the Kings system off the bench where he's not pressure to play as good defense like he is with the Raptors. They're a little bit more free flowing, I personally feel like. The Raptors obviously get Marvin Bagley, which is a bonus without giving up any of the core pieces. Again, I do think maybe you would have to throw in a couple second round draft picks or maybe a couple 1 second round draft pick. I do think this is a great deal for both sides though. But personally speaking, I obviously, being a biased Raptors fan, I do want to do that first trade. I am really high on Jalen Harris. I do think he has a lot of potential, and I do think he does need obviously a little bit of development, but I do think he could be one of those players like Norman Powell that can come up through the Raptors 905 throughout the years and really contribute. With that being said, I do want to talk about Marvin Bagley a little bit before I end this video. So personally, I know a lot of Raptors fans are big on him. Another con I forgot to mention earlier in this video is he is not a good defensive player at all. We always look at stats, we always look at numbers, but he is not a great defensive player at all, which is not the Raptors' identity. But again, he is a very young player. Maybe Nick Nurse can shape him into being a much better defensive player. But I also want to talk about the master plan that Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have. So I do want to look at Marvin Bagley's contract here really quickly before I end this video off. So looking at Marvin Bagley's contract is a really solid contract, especially considering we still will have him for another year. He'll only be 22 years old next year, and he's earning only 11.3 million, which is a really solid deal. But I do want to mention Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster's plan. And I do want to talk about that cap space. They were so eager to keep open. So I know a lot of people say, well, Marvin Bagley's young. He can be our future big man. But I'm pretty sure Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have a really big plan. They wouldn't let Serge Ibaka, who really wanted that second year on his contract, but for reasons known to Masai, they didn't want to give it to him because they wanted to keep the cap space open, not only for Giannis this summer, but there are some other key free agents as well. I know a lot of them have re-signed, including Rudy Gobert. Paul George has re-signed with the Clippers, but I still feel like they have a plan in place. And to sacrifice not only Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol as well wanted that second year contract, and you can say what you want about Marc Gasol. He was a good passing big man. So they let two really good key pieces go from that championship run, and they did it so they can have that cap space open. And you're gonna add Marvin Bagley here, who's making 11.3 million next season, which kind of digs into our cap space and doesn't allow us to have that cap space that we really wanted open. I truly believe the Raptors didn't sign a lot of free agents they could have this offseason because they needed and they wanted to keep that cap space open. And I know the question is always free agents don't like coming to Toronto or the Raptors, wherever they may be playing next year, but I personally do feel like they do have a plan in place to keep that cap space open, and acquiring Marvin Bagley would kind of mess with that because we do have him again for next season. He's also making 11.3 million. So Kyle Lowry's 30 million contract and Norman Powell's 10 million contract would be coming off the shelves. But then you add this and it kind of messes up with that plan. I personally do have faith in Masai and Bobby. I know they have a plan in place, and I know that plan was Giannis, but he re-signed, and there's still some decent free agents out there. I feel like this would kind of ruin the plan, and you almost let Serge Ibaka go for nothing, and it would kind of mess up that plan. So personally, I don't know if I would acquire Marvin Bagley just for that reason, because I know a lot of people will disagree with this. I do feel like Masai and Bobby have a plan for this free agency, upcoming free agency, and they do have big plans. I do want to see if they're able to capitalize and get some free agents on there, but that's one of the reasons I think you don't trade for Marvin Bagley. It doesn't make sense. You let Serge Ibaka go because you didn't want to give him the second year. And I'm not comparing Serge Ibaka to Marvin Bagley, but you acquire Marvin Bagley to pretty much just give him that second year. So it doesn't, it kind of, you once you have a plan, you kind of have to stick with it. You can't decide to go against it. I personally do have faith in Masai Ujiri that he will do something big this summer, but and that will be it for this video. But before I end my video, guys, I do want to hear what your thoughts are on Marvin Bagley. I want to hear your trade proposals of what you think we would have to give up to acquire Marvin Bagley, and I do want to hear what your thoughts are on this video. So again, if you could please let me know in that comment section what you think of this video, I'd really appreciate it. And that will be it from this video, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.